I got up largely ready to go by 8. I've been running around trying to find my headphones. It's now almost 8:30. They're in my pocket. It is 12:15, just got out of a longer pairing session. Good progress. I think I shouldn't be recording right now because Oliver wanted to know if I wanted to ride with him to the gym. I think he might have left 10 minutes ago. So I really should be running over there to check. So actually that's what I'm gonna do. Back from the gym, just started the lunch, turning on the TV, turning on some other stuff. I still need to stretch out my wrists to, I guess in this case, mitigate or get rid of carpal tunnel in this arm and make sure it never shows up in this one. I am extremely frazzled right now because I've spent the past couple days, this week pretty much, even before it, identifying how do I need to change. And so I say this and it comes off this thought: change your process, change your results. If I as a person behave one way and I'm able to tolerate a certain level of work and get a certain amount of things done, then if I want to increase that level, if I want to completely change my results, then I need to change me. And so I've identified some very targeted, explicit ways that I can be a way better person. But now the hard part is going to be, now that I have this much refined view of how to run projects, how to communicate with people, how to save time, how to get rid of waste, all that kind of stuff. Suddenly I'm in this position where in order to actually do that, everybody to this point who has been relying on me a certain way is accustomed to interacting with me in that way. So what I need to do is compassionately educate them, train them to communicate with me differently so that I can behave in the different way that I need. Now, I need to do this extremely compassionately. I don't have that much practice doing this. I don't know really how, but I've got a meeting coming up in 49 minutes that, although it's supposed to be about one thing, it's got an agenda and it's got a duration. I know it's really gonna be about all the things. And so it's gonna be about, I feel very frazzled because one of the biggest time sinks that is possible for me is making estimates. So this is a necessary evil. Everybody needs estimates in one degree or another. They take a lot of time, and often I don't have anywhere near the amount of information that I need to make an accurate estimate. So people come to me and they're like, hey, how long would it take to do this? Well, I need to ask questions because there's huge differences between small implementation. Like, the implementation might be largely similar, but it might be completely different scales of technical problems. So, and it's really hard to explain to people who are not computer science people. There's a good XKCD that goes through this. Somebody says, hey, when you take a picture, I want to know if somebody took it in a national park or not. Cool, I can do that pretty quick. But then the person goes on, they say, and so in the comic, the programmer person there says, cool, I just need a couple hours. Then the person will say, and I need to know whether or not there's a bird in the picture. And then the programmer goes, I'll need a research team in 5 years. There are completely different scales of problems that are inherent with programming. And so oftentimes, I don't know, most of the time when people ask for an estimate, what they're actually asking for is how much am I going to pay? How long is this going to take? I cannot give them those answers. So whether I like it or not, what the answer I give when they ask for an estimate is actually they're asking for the plan. They're asking for the explicit thing. So I need to push back really, really hard at the start of the process. And it's unpleasant to do. It's one of my least favorite parts of everything. I'm not that good at it because if I was good at it, I'd probably like it. What it produces is a need for a lot of meetings. Meetings waste so much time. Meetings are the biggest time waster. When I'm spending time working on estimates, working on meetings, working on that kind of stuff, it completely bombs my time. They are in the same portion of time completely managerial tasks, completely focused work, but they're not really either. And they're not really valuable because they are wrong. Like, they will be wrong. I cannot give good estimates. There is the most sensible thing to do at the current moment, given the information that we have. I can communicate the biggest risks, the trade-offs, the likelihoods, that kind of stuff. But what gets sales are really thought out estimates. And I don't like doing sales. But what's happening, this happens every place I go, is I give extremely detailed, cohesive estimates when I feel like I have enough information. So then people start relying on me to give that level of estimate with far less information. They start relying on me to like sit in on meetings and kind of speak from the programmer's point of view, but actually it's a huge waste of my time. So like, on one level it's necessary to get business, on another level there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, and I feel like right now it's going down the wrong path. I feel extremely frazzled because I need to educate people, I need to train people to treat me differently so I can serve them better, so I can like help them more. And so I don't know how to communicate this, stuck in a little grind here. I don't want to spend all my time on consulting because I've got some other projects that are spinning up. I have a burning need to do them. So I don't know. This happens every place I end up, where in the absence of action, I will take the action, but then by default that becomes my action from that point on. So I'm perceiving this to be potentially really unpleasant because this upcoming meeting won't be really just a meeting, it'll be me saying like, hey, I'm scaling all this stuff back. Like, I've been doing all this, I shouldn't be doing all this. Here's how I would like things to be from now on, and then like listening to what is it that they're gonna say. So most of the time when this sort of communication needs to happen, the people I work with are awesome. They are by far the best people I've ever worked with in this capacity. They like historically have responded amazingly every single time. So that said, I have this habitual response from earlier on in my career where I really dread this because it becomes, I don't know, rather than what can we do as a team, what are we trying to accomplish here, what's the outcome, it turns into this weird positional blame whatever, because then other people realize that they're gonna have to do more work. So that I just have that inbuilt fear in me, and that's what I'm confronting right now. I still need to do some stretches, eat lunch. I do need to prep for the actual content of the meeting, and then I have this entire afternoon slated out to deal with figuring out all the projects that I am doing kind of like on my own or with other people, and I have full reign in how to organize them and arrange them. I know precisely where each one is at, and it is all communicated so anybody can go look. I don't feel the same for a bunch of other ones, and that's why I'm so frazzled, because there's estimates that could potentially be huge time sinks. People have really high expectations or tend to get them. They require a lot of meetings. They're a huge waste of time. Man, I don't know. So I'm really frazzled right now. I need to put the camera down, I need to stretch, I need to go take a shower, I need to chill. Okay, taking a deep breath. Just got done with my meeting thing. I really like the people that I work with. They are awesome. That went great. That wasn't anything like I was fearing it would be. One of the big things is, since the start of the project, they've been saying we are going to launch in August, and just nothing is anywhere near that, and it has nothing to do with my specific realm of responsibility. So for that, I'm okay. I'm concerned about the other ones, but that is not my responsibility, nor should I make it. So, the package. Anyway, I've opened up another couple free hours where I can do anything I want. So I think I've made good progress. I've got a lot of billable time today. Like, effectively billable time, not just whatever, but like time where I actually had really focused work that got some hard things done. Then I think it's time to continue reading this book. I also need to get some sun. I need to get outside. So I might go, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This always happens. I've realized I say this all the time in every video, but I hit a point of decision fatigue where that's why I'm explicitly enforcing my routine right now. The other thing, but I think I need to go one level deeper, and I need to say that on these days, or for these types of things, I'm going to go to this place and do this. So, you know what actually sounds kind of good? Is hitting up Common Coffee and just chilling out there. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, last day of the vlog. I will try to think of something really good to put in here before tonight. Hopefully. Bye. I don't know why I'm saying bye. I feel like I'm hanging up a phone. I'm talking with myself and then I'm like, comments only open till 5. They're just simply better. I'd rather be there. It's 3:30 so I can get maybe an hour and a half in, a little less. That's good because it'll be focus time, and then maybe I'll cut today short. I think 2 to 6 as a guideline is pretty solid. Maybe forcing myself, I don't know. I'm gonna stay strict on myself because it's at the start. But then if it proves to be unwieldy, I will not. And that's how I'll deal with that. Comic Coffee just gave me a free muffin. That's why they're the best. I did not get any reading done in that book because I realized today's the last day. I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't know the people I'm doing this vlogging challenge with. Well, there we go. So the people I'm doing this vlogging challenge with, what's it gonna be moving forward? And so I was thinking through some stuff, pasting things in the project management software that we're using for this, and then basically I don't really know where to go next. It kind of dawned on me that I've gotten so used to doing this that I honestly wouldn't mind it going on forever. It's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of pleasant. Sometimes it sucks, maybe it won't always be easy, but overall, it's like a meaningful thing in my day. So I might, oh, okay. I thought there's a little light on the camera, and if you hit the wrong button, it pops up. But I was backwards. So I'm back home, 40 minutes left before 6 o'clock, so I'm going to put them to use. I think now I'll finally get to that book. Then I think I will put this together, the final one, and think through what to do next. Basically, if I can either close out that project or know what I'm doing inside of it next, either one is an outcome that I want. So I'm gonna let that sit a couple days or however long it needs. All right, I'm cutting down on the frazzle. I'm also beginning to consolidate thoughts inside my own personal base camp, so I need to get some reading done. I don't know if I said this anywhere, so I'm gonna say it now. The challenge started on, when did it start on? July 10th, ends August 10th. So 30 days, actually 32 days. That is why there is a slight discrepancy. It's after 6, I got kind of sucked into the book. What it was going into was a quantitative way of analyzing how good an interface is. And so, well, not how good, ranking different things. So like, for instance, and like backed up by academic studies and stuff, you can assume that if a user needs to key, it'll take 0.2 seconds. If a user needs to point the cursor at something, it'll take 1.1 seconds. If they need to home in on, or if they need to move their hand like from the mouse to the keyboard, keyboard to mouse, whatever, take 0.4 seconds. And then that M right there, that is mentally preparing. So the time it takes for a user to prepare mentally for the next step. Then there are a bunch of rules on how these go together. So like keying a word that you know, you don't have to think before every keystroke. And you know, some pretty reasonable stuff. And then R is like responding, the time for a computer to respond to input. And so of course these, like an advanced typer will type faster than a beginner typer, like of course. So these aren't like used to attain an absolute rating, but rather one with that provides an extremely accurate spread. So statistically, like if you analyze things by this, they found that they were able to get within one standard deviation like 90% of the time on all the interfaces they analyze and all that kind of stuff. So basically, these are some reliable numbers. The last one I didn't mention is R, the time the user must wait for the system to respond. So like within mobile web, there's kind of some different expectations. Like on web, typically you want a response in, oh, I forgot, this is bad. So like a good goal is 100 milliseconds is when it kind of, unless you're a high-end gamer or something, when a system is detectable, changes are detectable by humans, by just average. So basically, if you get response times to down under 100 milliseconds, it will appear instant. So, but then people are more forgiving of mobile, because like stuff takes longer to load on a cellular connection or what have you. So people are more accustomed to waiting, I think it was 500 milliseconds to sometimes up to 1,000. So an interface doesn't even need to necessarily respond immediately. Like, it doesn't need to complete the task. Of course, not all of them will ever be able to do that, but it should give feedback within a really short amount of time. So the next section in the book is they basically wanted you to build a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion tool, like actually do an interface without looking at theirs, put it down, design it, and then the rest of the chapter is analysis of that. I think this is intensely interesting because this can rank interactions on how efficient they are and like objectively give measures by which to compare different interfaces, and this will be extremely useful for saying I like this over that and here's why, because I can have a very explicit answer. The other thing is that there are a couple more quantitative methods within this chapter, and so if any of them kind of boil down how to begin to rank importance in a meaningful kind of way within a given interface, that would be amazing. So that way you can, of course there's going to be all kinds of qualitative feedback that happens. Like, that is the main form of feedback that I consume. I really like this because it's not that. It's the opposite. It's the quantitative side. And it's some simple things that I can fall back on with a high degree of certainty. And so, like I said, I'm looking to get from barely adequate to above average. So that doesn't mean, of course, it's really delving into that qualitative feedback, parsing the quantitative feedback correctly and all that kind of stuff. I think that is where you go from above average to like great, and then to like one of the best. But those are some huge leaps that I don't necessarily myself need to make. I just need to get to above average with this particular thing. So it's after 6, I think. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this final video. So it might just end the way that my day is gonna kind of end. And I will go, I want to go to Raising Cane's with Maddie. She already ate. Okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think now I want to watch the International, but I also want to go hang out at my parents' house because I've been over there for a little while. I think I can zone out. My first meeting tomorrow isn't until 10:30, so I'll have a good 2-hour chunk of time before I need to start prepping for that. And then, yeah, I think I should actually spend the rest of this night deciding what my approach will be in the future so that I can actually put it in this video. That, or at least my best guess. I'm back in my room. It is, I think, after 11. Oh my god. It's almost midnight. I am way behind schedule. So I gotta wake up early tomorrow. I've been sitting here messing around with Beam, a little video app thing. I found the interaction satisfying. I think I figured out one of the core dynamics that makes it so effective. And it is when you finish a video, but it cuts right in the middle of the thought. You're just naturally led to want to know, what is it? So then the video cuts, then it starts a new one. So your mind just automatically adapts to it. Therefore, watching all of and they have a video play and then it just immediately cuts into the next one. And they're grouped and sorted and whatever by location, by time, by like, they become these little stories. And I think that dynamic of that satisfaction of the transition, just, it keeps your attention and makes you watch it all the way through. And I find that dynamic extremely, I want to use the word interesting. I'm trying not to use the word interesting. It's really effective at keeping me watching. That's very low effort on my part, and I get some value out of it. Anyway, I wanted to have some big, glorious end to this vlog, or something like that. I'm simply out of time today. So I think that might be the ending. It's just simply that probably I'm trying to wrap my mind around how to say this idea. I'm in kind of a somber mood tonight, so I think that's why this thought is kind of somber. Oftentimes we build up all these stories in our head, we build up all these expectations about here's how the world's gonna be. Other people lop them on top of us, and so these huge, seemingly momentous events happen to us. So for me, this 30-day challenge, it was a lot of effort, so the end has a lot of significance and meaning for me. I automatically want to cut because I'm so used to the short beam times. That's interesting. But I think that some of the most profound moments are when we're supposed to feel the biggest change and all the world is changing around us, but what we actually realize is that we haven't changed at all.